Welcome to tutorial number 10, indeed already number 10, about CrusherX. I'm going to talk about the parameters speed, sweep, and, if there is still some time left, even about Xcrush. The speed parameter determines the tuning of the grains as well as the direction of their playback. The range reaches from -5 to +5. The value 1 means original tuning and direction of playback. The value -1 means original tuning and reverse playback. Absolute values higher than 1 increase the grain's tuning, what is tuning up. Absolute values lower than 1 decrease the grain's tuning, what is tuning down. Negative values play the grain's content in reverse, positive values forwards, what is original direction. The direction in which the grains are played influences the result of changing the grain's length. Changing the length doesn't make a difference sometimes, as long as the direction the grain's content is played in is the original one. But different lengths of the grains do make a difference when played back in reverse. The animation shows, somewhat simplified, what's going on while playing back the grains in reverse. As I promised this tutorial to be less theoretical than the last one, I won't talk about the details of the relationship and influences of and between the grain's length and the grain's content and the direction of playing back the grains. But I can't help making a last remark. Depending on the grain's content, there are always certain lengths of grains which sound completely the same, no matter what direction they are played, forwards or backwards, original or in reverse. This phenomenon made some composers of the late 20th century compare granular synthesis with quantum physics, where in very small dimensions time itself is reversible. Perhaps more about that in a later video beyond this series. You like aliasing, perhaps to make your sound a bit more aggressive? Well, switch it on. Some people may even generate scratch-like effects by modulating the speed parameter, being more meticulous finding a modulation scheme than I am in this video. Let me talk about the parameter sweep. Sweep changes the frequency of a grain during its lifetime. The value of sweep, its offset, determines the range of the frequency changing. The length of the grain determines its speed. The grain's frequency always sweeps across the whole range according to the sweep offset, no matter how long or how short a grain is. The consequences of that are enormous. The shorter the grains, the faster the changes of its frequency, meaning with short grains we can achieve frequency modulation, FM effects, like in an FM synthesizer. I'll come back to that aspect in a moment, but let's have a look at how the sweeps across the adjusted range go on. At offsets from 0 to 1, the grain's frequency goes up or down linearly, for example, with an offset of 0.5. Or minus 0.5. With offsets higher than 1 or lower than minus 1, the frequency of the grains changes in a more complex way, and plus and minus values work fundamentally different. For example, with an offset of 3. Or minus 3. Those who want more details about that may have a closer look at the chart, which contains even the general formula. I'll send you the chart as an Excel sheet. Just send me an email or leave a comment if you want to get it. But let's return to the fact that the speed of the frequency changes depend only on the length of the grains. With short grains, this speed can get quite fast. As a result, we get FM effects. To prove that, and to prove that it is really FM, I'm going to compare a sound created by a dedicated modular FM synth with a sound created with CrusherX only by using sweep and an adequate length of the grains. With both synths, let me call CrusherX a synth for now, the basic wave is a simple sine wave. You see, The sweep parameter enables us to achieve FM with CrusherX. When you consider the things we talked about in the last two tutorials, you get aware that, with CrusherX, it is possible to create FM effects and AM amplitude modulation effects with the same material at the same time. Let's leave the short grains and listen to longer ones while using sweep. What we get are artificial drops of water. I've recorded some real drops of water. Let me process them with CrusherX and a spoonful of sweep to get the real wet water even a little wetter. And the last experiment, I'm using mainly the sound of the reflections from the bowl's walls. Hack the sound into pieces by making birth longer than length, and apply some sweep and some reverb. Thank you for watching and listening. Please consider subscribing, sharing and liking. Have a nice day and enjoy your life.